Hi, I'm Todd Wente, and this is the Daily 180, 180 seconds of motivation and inspiration intended to help you take action and make progress in your life. This is episode 484 of the Daily 180, and we're going to continue our series on collaborate versus compete by talking today about the collaboration part of it. When I was younger, I learned this idea of collaborating, but I learned it differently. Collaborate is kind of an interesting word. Sometimes we use it in a very positive sense, meaning that we want to work together in a very creative manner, that we want to work together to try and solve problems, to come to some kind of a new solution, something that can benefit all parties that are involved. But we also use the term collaborate or being a collaborator to say that somehow you're involved in something that is distasteful. For instance, we talk about collaborators during a time of war as working with the enemy. This word collaborate has a lot of baggage connected to it, and so sometimes it's a little tough to turn around and say, "Are we really? Do we really want to be collaborators?" My answer to that is absolutely, we want to be collaborators. Back in the 80s, there was a term called synergy, and the idea behind synergy was that the sum was greater than the whole was greater than the sum of the parts. You could take the individual contributions, but when you put them all together, you get something bigger than you would initially expected. Synergy is at the heart of what collaboration is all about. When I bring my best ideas, when my partners bring their best ideas, then we get something even better than any of us would have been able to get on our own. But collaboration is tough because it requires us to trust other people. In fact, trust is at the heart of collaboration. It also requires us to be very clear about what we can do and what we can't. And that when we are being asked to work on a project, we can collaborate and give our best information, our best value. But if somebody else has better value to offer in a particular area, we have to be willing to step back and say, take it, take it. You run with that. That's not my deal. We used to call this a different word, and I'll conclude by sharing with you something that came from my childhood. I used to watch Sesame Street. I know you're probably thinking, well, that's not really a surprise at all for you. But I used to watch Sesame Street, and there was an episode that they had with their little Muppets, and they had the Geefel and the Gonk. And some of you probably remember the Geefel and the Gonk, right? The Geefel wandered around, Geefel, Geefel, and the Gonk was wandering around going, Gonk, Gonk. And they wanted to eat tangerine or nectarines from the nectarine tree. And the Geefel's arms were always straight up, but the Gonk was so short that he couldn't jump up to get them. And so what they found is that the Geefel could grab the fruit and throw him down, but he could never feed himself. So he would throw the fruit down. The Gonk would get the fruit since he couldn't jump after catching it from the Geefel, and he would feed the Geefel and feed himself. And at one point, the Gonk says, "We'll call this cooperation." And of course, the Geefel said at the end, "No, we'll call it sharing." Collaboration is all about cooperating, working together with our individual strengths and benefits so that all of us can be able to enjoy the results. We can share in the positive outcomes. I hope this gives you something to think about. I know it's been a big one for me over the last couple of weeks, and I hope that it's being valuable. In the meantime, hey, share this as wide and far as you possibly can. We'd love to have more people come with us on this journey of the Daily 180. In the meantime, my name is Todd Wente. This has been the Daily 180. Go forth and conquer. We'll see you next time.